Okay, again, please silence all phones. It is now 6 PM, and I call to order the work session of the Fairburn City Council for July 13th, 2027. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, Mayor. The Honorable Anatavia M. Benson.
Present.
The Honorable Linda J. Davis.
Present.
The Honorable Fannie Mae Hauser.
Present.
Honorable Shanita Nichols. Absent. The Honorable Samuel Perry. And the Honorable Ulysses J. Smallwood.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First item, please.
The first item is a zoning update by Denise Brookins, Planning Director.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So we have quite a few items to discuss, and I want to give an opportunity to have comments in between. But there are a few things that I think are really important. There are some opportunities to work together with our neighboring local governments. There's new concepts related to co-working.
Sorry, noise in the back. Yes, please, thank you.
Yes.
And speak a little bit louder, Denise.
Got you.
Okay,
All right,
proceed.
here we go.
Thank you.
And since I'm the first at the mic, it's going to be a little bit shorter than everybody else because everybody's taller than me, so I always have to adjust it. I'm excited about that. First one at the mic. So the first item is jurisdiction boundary line district. It is a new concept, and I think it would be a really great idea to discuss opportunities for Fairburn to implement something of this nature. Co-working space, community meeting requirements. We've discussed that in the past, and we finally have a draft together that's open for discussion. And of course, one of the most important topics that everyone is discussing, housing. And so I think Fairburn has to have a housing master plan or framework. And this is just a framework to begin the discussions. Of course, none of this is before you for a vote. This is all discussion items to get your feedback early on, to see if this is something that the city is interested in, something we should change, modify. All of this is a discussion item. So the first item, it's JBL for short. This was initiated by a zoning attorney who came to the city and had a concept, and I thought it was really great. We discussed it internally, and it's basically a district designated for one specific purpose. So there are various parcels within the city of Fairburn, Palmetto, where the natural boundary for the development would not end in the city of Fairburn. It would actually extend out to our neighbors. It could be the city of Palmetto, it could be South Fulton, and in some cases, Union City.
Yes.
So figuring out a way to partner and coordinate developments for properties that meet that specific criteria, I think would be beneficial. And figuring out ways for a consistent application of zoning regulations, and then helping create a framework for intergovernment cooperation, efficient delivery of service, and of course, orderly growth. So we know our municipal boundaries. When someone is looking at the city of Fairburn, we are surrounded by other cities and counties. That is one of the things that's very unique about Fairburn. We have Coweta County, we have Town of Tyrone, Fayette County, Palmetto, and of course, South Fulton. All of those surrounding us. So the development patterns are rather unique in that sense. And so as we began to really look at what are the items that we could, between our neighboring municipalities, focus on, especially if there's a particular development where it, as you're driving down the road, the parcel may appear to be in the city of Fairburn, but there are instances where the parcel is literally split in between the city of Fairburn and or the city of South Fulton. And so the city of South Fulton could have a development, and the city of Fairburn is impacted by it. And then you have GDOT, which controls the roads. And then you have things like wetlands, who don't necessarily stop at one particular municipality. The environmental impacts is for all of us. So it really provides a unique benefit if we could start working together. For the utility challenges, if there is an opportunity to expand services or to do upgrades working collaboratively together, this provides a great opportunity for that, to figure out what the density is most appropriate for development and have those discussions early on. I believe this would give us an opportunity to work together and to really look at some of those topics, like permitting requirements, transportation, environmental due diligence, zoning and land use conflicts, as I mentioned earlier, utility availability, and of course, market conditions. And ideally, this is not concrete, but what would happen is a development would come in and they would have a proposal in terms of just the general layout, density calculations, and whoever that neighboring city or county is, we would work together for the review of that. And we would present it both to our council and to theirs, and also have a service agreement, because there are a lot of things that would overlap. So for instance, if you have a parcel where the front end is one city and the back end is Fairburn, when the police department is called, who is going to arrive on site? If there are local streets and they have to be maintained, who is going to maintain those streets? Sidewalks, trees, all of those items may very well overlap, and right now we don't necessarily have a mechanism for that discussion. And we've reached out to some of the municipalities, and we're waiting for meetings for others, but this is very much in the early stage. So I really wanted to get you all's feedback on what you think about it. What have you heard in terms of concerns from constituents regarding matters like this? And if it's okay, we would like to kind of continue that conversation to figure out what the other nuances of something like this would include.
Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Councilwoman Benson, and then Davis.
First of all, Director Brookins, thank you. This covers a lot of concerns that our residents have had, especially those who are along those lines. And we've often wondered where our reach is, especially with those individuals. So thank you for this. How long has this been in, I guess, its infancy stage? When do you expect for other jurisdictions to hopefully jump on board with this?
As soon as I get the okay from you all to even start the conversation.
Okay. And as you're looking at this, what do you need from us in addition to the yay or nay?
Feedback. So if you have any concerns, if there are things that, as a part of this presentation, that were included, that should have not been included, if there are things that you want to change, modify, that's where I need the feedback. And we're very much in the early stages. And, you know, full transparency, I thought it was a great concept, but it came from Michelle Battle. I believe in giving credit where credit is due. This was her concept. She brought it to us, and it was a good idea. And so we will listen to a good idea from any party.
Final question is, as you're looking at what the cities can do, how far of a reach is this? Are you also looking at possibly having discussions with businesses along the border? Is this something that is potentially planned for even zoning requirements when applicants come into play?
This is for a very kind of unique case where a parcel is in between two municipalities.
Right.
So typically, this would be a development that is completely green. So there is no building, there is nothing there. This is a brand new, they're about to think about doing something. So this is the only instance. But I do think, to your point, there are opportunities for, not for this effort, but for us to do a better engagement with businesses that may be close to Fairburn, but not necessarily in Fairburn. And we can certainly explore that. But for this concept, this is simply about potential development.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Davis?
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Yes, looking at this initially, it is something that I think needs to be looked at. But I wanted to, you have clarified something for me in reference to this just being a parcel, which I think you'll have a better chance of maybe doing something like this. But we also, I think we also need to look at when we have streets, that half is in one city and the other half is in another city. I think we need to include that, or that could be something different, because I actually live in that situation and have for 30-some years. And I can remember when Vickers Road was tore up from the flow up on that side. I mean, you had to drive to potholes. And in one previous administration, had to get with the mayor of Union City. And when I brought it to the attention, especially when I came on board, it was going back and forth from one city to the next. No, it's Fairburn. No, it's Union City, Union City. So one administration met Mayor Hurst, took the lead, and we actually met with Vince Williams, Mayor Williams, and they decided to take a percentage. And of course, Fairburn took the highest percentage to get the road repaired. So that was a long process, for that. So I think that needs to be addressed somehow. I know you're talking about a parcel, which is something that's nice, clean. It's it's just this, and there's no development on it as it speak. But I think something like that also has to be addressed in reference to cleaning it up, and stuff. And we do a great job on the front end of it, which is Union City, but not so much of a good job back where it's actually the city of Fairburn. And I think that needs to be addressed, because doing that front end is very, very great, because the whole property would look really bad, and we do a great job on doing that. But I think we need to kind of pull Union City's coattail to say, we're taking care of your property here. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Phillips is well aware of this, because I've called him on a couple of occasions in reference to that. But I think there are other situations in the city like that.
I think
Make
that's
I'm sorry.
excellent feedback. So as we kind of continue those conversations, working with city administration, we can certainly bring up topics like that.
I think one of the ancillary benefits, if this gets council approval and moves forward, is there's always opportunity for us to collaborate more regionally.
Right.
One of the sessions I was in at GMA was about that topic this past year, and there is not a lot of framework for that. So we recognize the issues, but oftentimes there's no mechanism for us to do that. So at least in this instance, if we're successful, it will create a mechanism in this instance, and then the related issues like the roads you're talking about can hopefully be the next step in moving regional collaboration forward. We recently, about a year ago, Lester resurfaced Galat Road, which was in horrible condition because of a lot of truck traffic. Well, the center line for Galat Road, one half is in Fairburn, the other half is in the city of South Fulton, yet we were able to collaborate to get that project done. There's some other ones that we're discussing now, but there's no framework, mandates, or lays out how we do that. So this is at least an effort to say, let's at least start establishing some framework for cities that share issues, at least have a way to start working on them. And it's one step, and there are several others needed, as you well pointed out. But I'm hopeful that if we can start with one step, then maybe we can get to 2, 3, and start moving this city-to-city collaboration a little bit more proactively.
One other point I want to make, too, I don't know if we could also do this. In reference to our borders, there are people that have actually purchased a home, and they thought they purchased the home in Fairburn because it had a Fairburn address. They were highly upset to find out that it wasn't in Fairburn. And I know that's a postal situation there, but it is very, very confusing for people that really want to be either in Fairburn or the city of South Fulton, and they purchase a home, and then the mailing address is Fairburn. So that kind of needs to be cleaned up, too.
I think that calls for us working with the realtors, because they really should be disclosing that information to the buyer. of those homes, right, regarding that. But it's a communication issue, but we can collaborate with the realtors, maybe with postal service, and that's it, yes, various entities. But, yeah, it continues to be a problem, and it probably always will be, to tell you the truth. But it's something we're aware of, and just, all we can do is communicate, work, collaborate with those who should be in the know, and should be sharing that information with the potential buyers.
Yeah.
Okay, Councilwoman Hauser?
Oh, it's good to see you, Ms. Brookins. I wanted to ask you, you're saying there's no designated geographical zone for this yet?
No, no, no,
right?
we're still in the early stages, so this is just a concept, an idea that's being presented.
Okay, and what are the legal administrative rules? Are there any legal administrative rules? And,
Are you referring to the process of even creating it?
yes.
Yes. For the service agreement, we would work with our city attorney and zoning attorney for that piece. For the rezoning, it would work as like a text amendment. So if you all, after we go through this process, say that this is something that's a good idea, we would then draft a text amendment. It would be presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then it would come back to you all with the final draft for review. And we would also advertise that in the paper so that people are aware of it.
Thank you, very
On our
well
side,
said.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, wait, hold on. Okay, Councilwoman Nichols?
Yes. Hi, Denise. Thank you for your presentation. This is really, thank you for bringing this to us early as we are thinking of building a framework. Some suggestions I would recommend as we are thinking this through is for any IGA contracts, is there going to be like a standardized checklist or some type of list to tell us, like, so we're not recreating it every time, in a sense, keeping something, okay. Sorry, I was a little late, so.
No, you're good, you're good. So we do have some
we
rough
have
language in
something-
there.
okay.
Yes.
So we have that. My other feedback was around, do we know if any other city in Georgia has implemented something like this? If we can learn or connect with another city has already done this?
Nothing exactly like this. I believe early on, we had some discussions with Brookhaven because they had some language that was kind of similar, but not exactly like this. I would say typically, if you're looking at a annexation, so somebody's leaving a county and the parcel is coming into a city, there's a process established for that. But because all local governments control the zoning, and also can have service agreements, this does provide a rather unique opportunity, and I don't know of another city that is doing it exactly like this.
Okay. And then as we think of who has the final authority as we're building this out, if two cities or we disagree, how do we come
I think that will be a natural part of the process. So this
Okay.
is very early on. And
So
we
this-
haven't presented it, so it may be some disagreements and things like
Okay.
that. But I think as long as we are at least facilitating the conversation and bringing everybody to the table, I hope that we will be successful. But, you know, naturally, we don't all have the same comprehensive plan designations. We don't all have the same zoning designations. We don't all have the same strategic plan. But we are all faced with, when people drive through our cities and counties, they don't know which parcel is which. They just want to see something nice, and I believe the constituents also want to see something nice. And if there's an opportunity to collaborate, we can at least make the attempt, no promises.
And then my last, recommendation is as we think of these new parcels, like the tax revenues and the maintenance of it, as we build out this framework, make sure there's something in there that kind of dictates
Yes, that's an excellent point.
around tax revenues and just the maintenance as the cost will be divided and what those percentages look like front, so there's no confusion in the back end.
Councilman Perry?
Ms. Brookins, thanks for really bringing this to us. I really appreciate the forward thinking on this, especially with regards to infrastructure, utilities, water. I think we did discuss the GMA with regards to regional collaboration amongst not just other cities, but also other counties, so that we can continue to build out Fairburn and the region in a smart way, especially with regards to the use of the region. I housing, like a special potential for housing development?
Later in the presentation, there is a completely separate item about housing, but this is not about one particular housing development, no.
And with regards to police, fire, I know that we have, already mutual
8 agreements, yes.
agreements. So, I would expect that that would some form continue, but, further be, detailed in the line. But, water, the tree canopy between, keep our beautiful city beautiful. We don't want it all concrete, we want the trees. So I really applaud you guys for bringing this.
Okay, any other comments? And then I would add as well. So first of all, tell Attorney Battle, thank you for the idea. And I would ask that you have further conversation with her about what's her knowledge of this idea. And might she know, there may not be other cities in Georgia, but there may be, so she may know that. But nationally, that we could look to, at least to understand some of the nuances of the concept. And then we can work to modify it as appropriate for our area. And then I would also ask that we just double check any state laws that may impact this concept, so that we are clear about what those requirements may or may not be. I know municipalities have zoning jurisdiction, but there may be something that drives this collaborative effort. So just want to make sure we are on top of that. And then, of course, use your resources with the American Planning Association to see what the organization has done in regards to this in other areas. And I would also ask you to reach out to, and I will as well, to National League of Cities as well as GMA, just to reconfirm that there are no other cities in the state of Georgia. But then we can find nationally what other cities may have done this. Because obviously this exists somewhere. We just need to find out where and how it's working and how it's not working as well. And then I also expressed the same sentiment regarding the streets and the collaboration there, because we have existing issues right now with a part of a street in the city of Fairburn and part in others' jurisdiction. And we haven't been able to get any movement on paving those streets. We've got issues with tire dumping in some areas. And so it's just a whole host of issues. And so I think we should work in parallel with the broader concept of untapped areas, wooded areas, but also existing streets and neighborhoods where we border other jurisdictions.
Excellent point.
So I look forward to seeing what you uncover regarding this. All right, thank you. All right, are we ready to move to the next item? Okay, proceed.
Okay, so co-working space. Co-working space is a somewhat new concept. A very high-level definition that I was able to find is a building or portion thereof used by multiple independent individuals, entrepreneurs, professional, or other businesses who share a common work area, facility, service, typically via membership, subscription, or license space. There are numerous economic development benefits. It does provide an opportunity for adaptive reuse. We've also recommended some residential protections, and then clarification in terms of the review. So co-working space, it's not a new concept. Colleges have spaces where they encourage incubators to come together, and now people are doing it everywhere. So imagine whatever you're doing at a Starbucks in terms of working, creating a space similar to a Starbucks where an entrepreneur, a person who does not necessarily want to work at home could come, their computer, grab a cup of coffee, and work for a few hours. These are throughout the metro Atlanta area. They've become extremely popular. And although our zoning ordinance has provisions for offices, they don't necessarily have the language in there for co-working space. So So I think it's a unique opportunity for us to look at and potentially adopt. So looking at the areas, I especially wanted to make sure that it was very broad in terms of the zoning districts where it could potentially be done. Of course, our downtown area, general commercial, industrial areas, neighborhood commercials, and office and institutional. And one thing that's sort of unique about the proposal is that I think it's really important that someone have a concept. So turning a building into a co-working space is great, but what is the floor plan going to look like? And having that in the public forum, both to educate folks about this new concept, but then to also make sure that we have a good grasp on who is actually going to be maintaining it, parking, interior modifications, and of course, a boundary search. So this is very unique in terms of just the concept planning piece of it. But that's the general, very high-level concept of it. The Planning and Zoning Commission did provide some excellent feedback regarding it, and so now I need feedback from you all. Yes.
Okay, yes, Councilman Smallwood?
Yes, now, I really, really like this. Thank you for bringing this. I had a quick question, because I know Club E is down in College Park, and they've been thriving for years. And I know an entrepreneur who has been in there for probably 15 years thriving with their business at Club E, so this will be great for Fairburn. I wanted to ask you, though, now, is it special provision? Because some of them are even bigger. So my last company would bring us to Nashville, and there was the co-working, but there's also where conferences can be held there. So will ours, or I guess the proposal will have the ability to expand to that as well? Because I even know that that's a place where we can leverage, because when I worked for Fulton County Schools, we would have to go to Cobb County, and they hosted some of the conferences or the day work sessions there. So, maybe, I don't know if we've looked at that, but I know how many concepts are there as you've looked this up, or what are our plans, basically?
I haven't seen one where it's partnered with a venue space, but I don't think it's a bad idea. If someone has the capacity and the building is built to code that they could handle this space and a venue, I think that's an excellent idea. But no, there's nowhere where I saw both are kind of in the same. I've seen it more for buildings that have been vacant for a long time, and it's a great location, got a little bit of parking. I've seen it go in those locations and been very successful. And then there are areas, I think in sort of Johns Creek area, where they have them where people are, this is where they run their business at. Just love coming in, being there, not having to deal with the traffic and everything else, and being really close to home. So I've seen it work there, but I don't think that's a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, Councilwoman Hauser?
Are you thinking about or looking at the size of, of this building and the budget?
More about the size of it, I would say,
First.
because the applicants would have to, based on the draft that we have now, provide a floor plan. So as we're looking at that concept, the fire marshal, we would also bring in public safety to all kind of be aware of it and provide their feedback, not necessarily the applicant's budget, because that's really on them. Ours is just making sure that it's managed well, that it's, well secured, and that we're thinking about the implications and the impact to the surrounding areas.
Okay, and this would be a shared space?
Potentially, yes. Most of them are shared space, so they have a subscription. You come, kind of like if you were, first come, first serve at a coffee shop. Whoever's there, sit down, you enjoy yourself, and then, do your work and you leave. So it's definitely a shared space.
All right, and I think I heard you mention that some of, perhaps maybe downtown somewhere?
Yes, ideally, I think it would be a great addition to the downtown area.
Okay, thank you.
Councilwoman Benson?
So the concept is including or potentially including 6 different districts that you've identified.
The zoning districts are the existing zoning districts and where we're recommending that it's most appropriate.
Okay, so with that, because different districts, different zoning areas have different requirements or different stakeholders that come into play. With this, depending on where those shared workspaces are, will the rules and regulations differ depending on who those stakeholders are, what
Not
their-
necessarily. The only difference is if it is a commercial area that's close to residential, then I think it's important to have a buffer and to ask questions about lighting and just making sure that if it's right next to a home, that we're taking into account the impact. But other than that, typically if somebody was thinking about opening up a coffee shop and it's downtown, there's no other provisions or things like that. So it's just really about making sure that if it is adjacent or close to residential home, especially single-family residential home, then there can be some negative impacts.
And then I've seen some shared workspaces that literally will hold businesses inside of them to cater to those stakeholders that are coming in. You would just mention like a coffee shop. I've seen some where a coffee shop is inserted in, et cetera. Will there be a set of regulations for something like that? Because that's
Yes.
a business within a business, so.
Yes.
Okay. fair
So there's provisions that if a certain amount of space is dedicated to something outside of the co-working, then you would have to get a business license both for the co-working space and if you had like a coffee shop. But then kind of doing some research on some of the amenities. Some of them have food trucks for their members once a month. We want to make sure that that's there. But if, because it's going to be done in a way that's a little bit more transparent in terms of the business license piece, we would be able to at least ask those questions, or at least the Planning and Zoning Commission would, about your floor plan says this, but more than 60% of the floor space is dedicated to a coffee shop. So you're going to need a business license for both. And then making sure that they register so that even if you try to provide a provision for everything, there's something you don't know or haven't figured out or a new idea or concept. So we want to make sure that there's room in there for that as well.
Very good. Thank you.
Councilman Perry? No? Okay. Oh, yes, Ms. Nichols? Councilwoman Nichols?
I'm excited for this because I work remotely, so I've always worked in co-working spaces sometimes when I want to get out the house. But some of the things I think we should consider is parking, because especially around peak time, just where people parking, also thinking about traffic, how that will impact whatever area this establishment will be in, as well as when you think of adding in provisions around, like Councilman Smallwood mentioned around events, but sometimes those places have like after-hour network activities or just things like that where they are mixing and mingling professionally. So timing around, I guess, I don't know, hours if that's something, or as well as occupancy limits as we think of like for this type of business, what does that look like? So those are some of the things that I would just kind of think through as we build this out, because I think these will be key in obviously like the success of the co-working space. I really like the idea of a business within a business, because most co-working spaces, they do provide food, snacks. Some of them are already included in your subscription. So you go, they already have kitchens and everything on every floor, so you don't have to worry about that. But just as we think through, to make it kind of a one-stop shop for someone who's going technically into a work office.
Okay. Excellent.
Thank you.
And I would also ask, no other questions? Okay, I would also ask that we clearly define what is a co-working space. And did you say we already have some language in our ordinances about co-working space, or no?
No, we have language in our ordinance for just a professional office, like a law firm or something of that nature, but
Okay.
not necessarily co-working space.
Okay, so I'm actually kind of surprised and a little confused to hear about that, because we know of, or at least I know of, one project where the owner redeveloped the property, and the whole intent was to lease out offices in that. So would that fall under something else that's already existing?
Yes.
Okay, and what is that?
So that is, if someone is saying, hey, I have a building and I am going to lease out multiple suites, each of
To
those
different
suites would
people,
have to get a
yes.
business license.
Say that again?
Each suite would have to get a business license. So Every
Okay, so that's the difference now. Whereas if we have on the books co-working space, it could potentially fall under that category, and a license would still be required?
It depends. So typically, if someone is coming to a co-working space, they're working there similar to you, how you would do at a coffee shop.
Okay.
Not necessarily, I want to get my business license here or anything. I just want to work here, be away from the house. And I think because we have such extensive regulations in terms of office and institutional, if somebody said I wanted to come in and I have a real estate firm and it's just me and I want to utilize this space and they wanted to apply for a business license, they could do so. But if someone is doing a co-working space, that means they're running a business with subscriptions, they have folks coming in and out. As much as possible, I think it's important to be transparent about the nature of the business, because we get calls when people have business licenses. So if you have a space that's now where somebody is coming in and have multiple folks kind of coming in and out, somebody working for an hour, somebody working all day, people are going to be kind of interested in what that is and being able to define it, regulate it, and make sure that whomever is in charge of it, that we have contact information for it, and they can get a business license similar to anyone else.
Okay. Well, I would agree with that, because that's kind of a very fine nuance, because the way you're describing it now implies that the person who's coming in wanting to get out of the house to work, they're working for some other company, and but they're working remotely, and they want to come to a common space to work. But the concept behind a lot of co-working space had to do with entrepreneurship. And so, yeah, so we need to really be clear about that, and have, make sure we have strict guidelines about that and how we monitor that. And of course, we definitely do want to encourage it, most definitely. And then the last thing I would say is, in defining co-working space, we need to distinguish how that differs from office space, right? Okay, because even a co-worker space is owned by an individual or company who then is leasing out square footage, you know, to either work remotely and/or to work on your business. All right, so, but I agree with my colleagues, great idea, long overdue, and it's quite frankly happening in Fairburn already, but it's great now that we will be intentional about that. So, great. Any other questions? Okay, our next item.
Okay, so next item is something we have been doing for a long time. It is community meetings. So before an item goes before the Planning and Zoning Commission, before an item comes to you all for public hearing, we highly recommend, and all of our applicants have been having community meetings. And what we just want to do is codify this. So for rezoning, a use permit, concurrent variance, making sure that for these items that we codify that requirement and make sure that the process is explained to applicants. We've just been very lucky in the sense that all the applicants want that early feedback to know exactly what the concerns are, if people like it, if people don't like it. So they've all agreed, but this is just making it mandatory. So the same requirements, we've required a,
Excuse me, may I ask a question
Sure.
prior to previous page? Go ahead, yeah, go back, return.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. All right, so for my colleagues up here, and Councilwoman Davis and Smallwood may remember this, there was a time when the city of Fairburn had actually no distance requirement to send out mail notices. Then we started with, I believe it was 500, right? And now we're at 1,000, but I thought we were at 1,500.
it's 1,000.
It's 1,000? Okay, so I would ask for increasing
Okay.
that distance, because we still get a lot of complaints, if you will, of neighbors in the area who did not receive notification. And depending on the area, 1,000 feet just really may not be adequate enough. So I think we need to broaden that, or have some criteria about how and when we broaden, if that's allowable, that
Certainly,
distance.
yes.
Okay, yes. All right, Councilwoman Davis, yes.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. In addition to that, I think we need to be conscious too of the time. You know, if you say you're gonna have a meeting at 5:30, people getting off from work at 5, there's no way they're gonna be able to make that meeting.
Okay.
So the time frame, I think we discussed that once before on something. Time frame of the meeting is critical as well. So I don't know if you want to also, do we allow the Zooming or the?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we allow that, right?
Yes.
Okay, at the same time. Okay, yeah. And I don't know if there's other little fine points that you may have received some.
Well, the
Rates or
one
anything?
thing the residents did complain about is there was a community meeting scheduled on the same day as a council meeting. Making sure that that provision, so
Right.
that people don't have it on those
Exactly.
days.
Yeah, it's just things like that that needs to be done. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I do.
Okay, yes, Councilman Perry?
You mentioned the Zoom meeting. Who's responsible for that? Is that
The applicant. So the applicant is responsible for the community meetings, the notification, obtaining a facility where they can accommodate the meeting. And typically, I've seen most applicants do a hybrid, so they'll have a Zoom option and an in-person option.
can we, I don't know, can we?
They do provide us a report of that meeting,
Yeah.
yes.
I'm just thinking from the citizen's perspective, like if a flyer goes out and everyone knows that it's at a certain location at 5:30, 6 o'clock, for all those residents that can't make it, usually most people have a cell phone. So if they can Zoom in, even if they can't be there in person, much like what we're doing today, that'll allow more people to have access to it. And usually there's I guess a text chat or chat room where people can leave their comments, things of that nature, so that, you can truly get better community involvement.
Okay. So requiring that it be a hybrid meeting for all of them, in person and online?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would say, just exploring increased use of technology to provide access. Technology, apps, et cetera.
Can I add something?
Yes.
And as we think of the way they try to do outreach, are they only just mailing? Is there a way we could potentially partner to share this through like social media or
So
just?
because this is the applicant's opportunity to have the conversation with the community, I would really put the onus on them and just have it as a requirement. I think tendencies, when people see a community meeting, they automatically think that it's a public hearing and a decision has been made. And so we tend to always come to those meetings just to make sure somebody in the room says, this is not a public hearing. This is not in before any boards. This is just an informational session so that the general public can know what it is. And I think the signage will help too. So if you put out the sign that says it's a community meeting, I think that would help with the education as well.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking of people not receiving things in the mail. Most times when I see the flyers, it's because someone took a picture and posted it on like a social media website. So I don't know if maybe it's not us, but somehow like they need to figure out a way to access people, not just through mailing. Things could be outdated. If we're going from 1,000 to 1,500, is that enough? I mean, Fairburn is growing. So I just think we got to think of different ways to communicate, especially when some of these big projects come and people are like, I didn't get the invitation about the meeting, so how can we help support
I do
that?
think what we can do is make sure that when we get the information about the meeting, also put that on our website under planning and zoning. There's a section now where we have pending developments, but we can certainly look at ways to update that to make sure that that information is just readily available.
As I was suggesting, as we use, or we require the developer to use more technology and apps, that would include maybe text messages, right? To phones, so you can obtain access to cell phones in certain, right? So that's using the technology to reach the applicable residents of an area.
I think
And
what's key in that is two things: using technology, because oftentimes there are ways to do that that don't require the developer to take on undue expense. Because we don't want to create a barrier to development where when you come to Fairburn, suddenly you have to incur a bunch of expenses that you don't have to do in other cities.
And we don't want to take on additional
And that is
expenses
the second
either.
point I was going to make, is that it is really important that we always keep clear who's doing what. And in these community meetings, it's the developer. And Denise does a great job of being a kind of a fly on the wall in a lot of these meetings, just to make sure people don't get confused. And even with that, when the developer's doing it, sometimes people still think it's the city. And we don't want people to get confused about that and think the city's engaging in a project that we haven't, this council has not heard, this council has not decided on. We don't want people thinking, oh, I got that from the city, that somehow that's a tacit endorsement because they saw it on our website or our social media. And so
Or that we were
point is very good.
present.
Right, right. And so we definitely want to make sure we build into this process as much as we can for the developer to use, and technology is an excellent point, because mail doesn't reach everybody. And, well, I don't know if mail reaches, anyway, I'll stop there, but the mail has challenges. But technology can do that in a way that may not cause undue expense, but increase the reach so that people can get the message.
Do we have a minimum requirement of how many people need to?
No,
No, and I wouldn't recommend that we have a minimum requirement, because there are some meetings that you have standing room, like it's, everybody is there. And then there are some issues that people just want to kind of
They don't really
hear
care.
about. They don't want to necessarily be attending, because it's, if it's outside of your area, then you may not be as interested. So I wouldn't suggest a minimum for meeting attendance.
for context, 1,500 feet is about roughly 5 football fields end to end. It's a pretty decent distance.
Yeah.
You know, and so it would encompass normally quite a few residents that are reasonably adjacent to the proposed development.
And if it's an area where there's density already, you're going to reach a lot more people. So it just depends on the location. Yes, Councilwoman Benson?
I see that, of course, there's the minimum of 15 calendar days. Is there any room to? Exactly, to increase that amount of time, because depending on when those community meetings happen, you could be dealing, we've already talked about, you know, things getting lost in the mail or a mail holdup. If you're in the middle of political season where all the flyers are going out and mailers are arriving late, holidays, back to school, any of that, things can get lost and held up. So can.
Business days maybe, rather than calendar
Exactly.
days?
Okay. I think we can look at increasing that. I don't want to be, I don't want to have it too long, because
Right.
if you're looking at a pending development, and this is holding you up from getting before the Planning and Zoning Commission, and that's going to be a meeting, and then the mayor and city council, and that's going to be a meeting, I don't want that time and duration to be too long where it's unfair to the developer to even get a decision. So even if ultimately this is not something that aligns with council, we don't want to make this a 60-day window. I
Right.
think 15 is sufficient, and then just increasing communication and all, and making sure that the website is updated. And with anything, we can always get better with communication, and we can certainly look at that. Because it sounds like the issue is not necessarily the notification that's going out, it's how we're communicating it and being more flexible and innovative in terms of how we can reach people. We can certainly address that.
And I would ask, as we look at regulations, because that's what this is, right? We don't want to be a burden, an excessive burden to, because we want to be a business-friendly community, and we want to balance that with the needs of our residents. So we need to just always keep that in our mind, is how we're balancing the two, not one at the expense of the other. Okay,
That's
any other
Benson.
questions?
Oh, yes, one last thing. As we think of not making it a burden to businesses, just any feedback as we're talking to them, like what can make our process more efficient, or is this challenging what we have already, just to kind of see, like, on the opposite side, like what our stakeholders are experiencing, or what they've experienced in other municipalities that may make things more easier. So that's always, that's good. And that made me think about.
Especially those cities that are considered business-friendly.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, what does that mean? What does it look like?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you. All right, next item.
Okay.
All right, so we have 10 minutes, and so How do you want to proceed with the 10 minutes?
I would say we would definitely need a part two, but I do want to at least talk about the missing middle and talk some of the concepts.
Okay.
I'll keep it very high level if that's
Okay.
okay with council.
All right. And so what I have asked Ms. Brookins to do is that at the next work session, we will continue this discussion to delve into the whole housing master plan, yes, okay? So just remember that. Okay, proceed.
So we began to really look at missing middle housing and neighborhood stewardship. These are concepts, if you've gone to any conferences recently, everybody's talking about missing middle, everybody's talking about housing, because there is a crisis in terms of housing in this country. And so as we looked at the comprehensive plan, the housing market study, we began to really look at what are the opportunities to create a framework for a master plan in the city of Fairburn. So we started with the missing middle, and that term simply means a range of housing types denser than detached single-family homes, but less dense than mid-rise, high-rise apartment buildings. And so what we've seen for development across US is that there are a lot of single-family, there's a lot of multifamily, but the smaller neighborhood-scale developments have been challenging for anyone to do. And one thing that I think is really critically important as we look at Fairburn, it's not enough to just talk about the amount of units that we could potentially have. We also have to talk about neighborhood stewardship. And the best definition that I could find is right there. And it's really looking at the character of a neighborhood and making sure that whatever decisions are made are looking at the well-being of a neighborhood throughout the management, investment, and community engagement. So it's thinking about how do we have clean, walkable streets, well-maintained yards, community engagement, inclusive housing options, investment into spaces. This is a lot of the stuff that Fairburn has already done, but just making sure that while we're talking about increasing density, we're also talking about stewardship and the impact on existing neighborhoods. So missing middle is saying, okay, you should include more density, more options, and then stewardship asks the question, will this decision make the neighborhood better long-term? And for any decisions, I think it's important to have both of those items at the table at the same time, especially as you look at a framework. So, and the reality is, when we start talking about housing, and we start talking about the amenities that our residents want, you need more households. There's no way around that. You have to have a strong market. And I have some information about our current demographics. But when you think about things like a grocery store, a sit-down restaurant, neighborhood retail, all of that is tied to housing. A while ago, we had a market study, and then as a part of it, we also asked them to look at all the grocery stores in the area so we could understand both where we have the greatest advantages and what our challenges are. And so they looked at the Krogers and the national chains and told us that, roughly speaking, you need 2,000 households within a 3-mile radius and an income of $50K or above. And so in terms of the income level, Fairburn meets that. But in some cases, the unit count is where we're having the most challenges. So they gave us this is all public information, which areas are most likely to look at the city of Fairburn just based off our demographics, and they gave us a really good map. I'm happy to share that with all council so that you can look at it. So the housing market study, I think, was very beneficial because it gave us the framework for knowing what our demographics are. The same person that did the housing market study for us are the same people who are looking for the national chains and the sit-down restaurants. They're providing them with this information to say, hey, you should go to this location because the numbers make sense. So, always. There's no way around that. And so, we will probably say this over and over again, but housing creates the retail market. Retail follows the rooftops. Retailers don't come because they think it's the greatest place ever. They come because the numbers make sense. There's no way around that. And so missing middle is an opportunity for us to begin to look at how we can have developments that we are leveraging so that we can get those amenities that we want. So more homes, more consumer spending, more retail recruitment option. There's no magic number that says, hey, once we get to here, you just have to focus on being open to new ideas so that we can work on making sure that the consumer spending numbers are increasing so that our market conditions are so great that nobody can say no. So we looked at citywide the limited grocery store options. We looked at the population growth, which is improving every single day. And then, of course, the folks that did our study said more than likely, if something is going to happen that our residents really want, it's going to happen on 74. Because that's where we have the most density.
Yeah.
That's where we have, in terms of even restaurants, there's already areas within all of our mixed-use developments that require that they have some kind of commercial development. It could be a smoothie, a cafe, or a nice sit-down restaurant, but that's a requirement for all of our mixed-use developments, and that's how we were able to leverage. So when people go to some of these mixed-use developments and able to sit down at a restaurant, is because this council, during the decision-making process, made that a requirement. And so the same thing we're doing for 74 at a different scale, of course, fitting the neighborhood character, we have to look at downtown, and when we talk about revitalization, that is going to mean looking at different housing options. So, but again, it's about looking at the two. It's missing middle, which is, of course, expanding housing goals, and then stewardship, which makes sure that the neighborhood scale and character is there. It's supporting modest density while also making sure that we have the infrastructure to support the growth. It's encouraging redevelopment, but making sure we're improving the public realm, that streets, sidewalks, stormwater. It's increasing attainability while also making sure that it's high quality. It's promoting walkability while also making sure that the neighborhoods feel safe and connected. So that's why the terminology is very important. So the good news, our numbers look great. Even when we did the initial housing study, we found that, this is a fairly affluent community. 71% of homeowners earn 75 plus. And y'all notice from the first one, it said 50K is the minimum. So we have exceeded that. Even the folks that are renting homes in the city of Fairburn are earning 100,000 or more. So our income levels are great, but when you're talking about housing, I think it's important to look at two things. You look at where you're doing really well, but then you look at the areas where there could be displacement. Right. You look at the areas where folks are not able to meet their basic needs and are struggling. So you have to look at both so that you're creating a framework that has something for everyone and can benefit the entire community as best we can. Yeah. So I just want you all to know that along with the very high earners, we also have households that make under $25,000. And we also have owner-occupied housing where people have fixed income and are struggling. And so although it's not widespread, it's there. So I think we have to acknowledge it, understand it, and then create strategies to address it.
Okay. Before we respond to questions, because we're almost up against 7 o'clock. So, Madam Clerk, please tell me how we might continue this discussion, at least to address any questions that they have, and I've seen several hands. So, what are my guidelines for continuing discussion, since we're at 7, almost at 7? City Attorney?
Defer to legal on that?
Add it,
Yes, okay.
add
Gonna
it.
defer to
You
legal?
want to add it to the agenda for 7?
Well, so I think this is a great stopping point in terms of the item presented, but I want to allow the questions to be asked and responded to. So I'm thinking another 15 minutes, if that can, so can we continue and then start the council meeting at 7:15? Is that appropriate?
Just make the announcement.
Okay, all right, so to all in attendance here and all who are viewing online, we are currently in work session, and we will continue that until 7:15, and we will gavel in for the council meeting of the Fairburn City Council. Okay, so proceed. Comments, all right, Councilwoman Davis?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I was wondering, Ms. Denise, do we have any stats in reference to our community and homeowners, that you have people that purchased their dream house, square footage and everything, and kids are going off, they're gone to college, they're done, and they want to downsize. But they want to downsize in an area that's walkable, that they can go get the coffee, they can go get a sandwich, they can reduce their driving as well. I'm thinking, I don't know if condos would be it, or is there a market for it? But have we kind of looked at that? Because you do have a lot of people that probably have that kind of house, and, you know, that's like, this is too much house for me, but I don't want an apartment, I don't want a high-rise. Have we looked at that at all?
So in the downtown area, currently, there's a lot of flexibility in terms of what you can do. Multifamily development, townhomes. What we have is a zoning regulation, but what we don't have is the partners in place that are actually doing that kind of development. So I think as a part of looking at ways to expedite it, if you're looking at a typical large builder, they're not building that kind of development. If they are, then more than likely it's because the unit count is such that it's profitable for them. I think when you start talking about the missing middle piece, there are several lots in Fairburn where there's an opportunity, but the developer that comes to the table is not going to be the big guy. It's going to be somebody who is kind of in the middle and is willing to not necessarily get the unit count, but they're going to need things like expedited reviews. And those are some of the policy things that we need to look at to make sure that we're creating the opportunities for small developers to come in and be able to get the return on investment, because they're doing that missing middle. They're not building, 100 units. I mean, you'll have some things come forth regarding that, but I would just say it's the time frame that we really have to work on to address your question.
And that would include some incentives, the city's investment in making that happen.
It also
Yes.
connects to the changing nature of the housing market. What it was when I was in my 20s is a world of way different than what it is today.
Yes.
Recently, at a South Fork Municipal Association meeting, one of the staff members from ARC shared, and Denise and I talked about this earlier today, that the average age of a first-time home buyer in metropolitan Atlanta is 41.
Yeah, that's
What
different.
does that tell you? That tells you that a lot of people in their 20s and 30s
They don't
are
want
either not in a position to buy a home, don't want a home.
They don't want a home.
Are looking for other things. And so you have that, along with the people you just described.
Right.
My kids have gone off to college.
Yep.
I need to downsize.
Right.
So keeping an open perspective on what those solutions look like.
Right.
And sometimes not the same developers that are building 200, 300, 400 home subdivisions.
Right.
There are different types of developers that can help to make, and that's kind of what missing middle is.
Yes.
What are those answers to create accessible housing at price points
Right.
working people can get to?
Right.
Because the other ends of the spectrum, firefighters, nurses, teachers, there are a lot of homes right now that everyday hardworking people, it's not realistic. They can't buy that home. So-
Including Fairburn employees.
So we're trying to, Denise is trying to guide us to what those outcomes.
What that would look like, yeah. Great. Thank you.
Other questions? No? Okay, then. All right, well, thank you very much. I thought I saw multiple hands. Okay. All right, well, can I go ahead and start the meeting? Okay. All right, I will gather in. Do we need a break? Anybody need breaks? Okay, okay, all right. It is 7:02 PM. We call to order the meeting of the Fairburn City Council. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
The Honorable Anatavia M. Benson. Present. The Honorable Linda J. Davis.
Present.
The Honorable Fannie Mae Hauser.
Present.
The Honorable Shanita Nichols.
Present.
The Honorable Samuel Perry.
Present.
And the Honorable Ulysses J. Smallwood.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Next item, please.
The next item is going to be the invocation by Deacon Philip Barnett of First Baptist Church.
Okay, Mr. Phillips, would you do the honors, please? Maybe we all stand if you're able.
Let's bow. Father, we come before you with heads bowed and hearts humble, thanking you for the blessing of this another day. Lord, as we gather to discuss the business of the city, we ask that you bless our deliberations, our discussions, and the decisions that will be made here, that they are always beneficial to the residents that we serve, communities that we serve, and helps to promote a better quality of life. Be with these elected leaders as they guide our city through these decisions. Grant them wisdom, grant them collaboration, that they may help us to move to a better place. Be with all of our first responders and all of our essential workers who work every day to the benefit of others. Continue to be with us throughout this meeting. Bless what we do to be pleasing to you and to be a blessing to others. It is in your son's name that we pray, with all the degrees say, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilwoman Davis, would you do the honor of reading us the civility pledge, please?
Absolutely, Mayor.
Thank you.
The way we govern ourselves is often as important as the positions we take. Our collective decisions will be better when differing views have had the opportunity to be fully vetted and considered. All people have the right to be treated with respect, courtesy, and openness. We value all input. We commit to conduct ourselves at all times with civility and courtesy to each other.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is announcements, presentations, and proclamations. Number one, the recognition and presentation of the City of Civility plaque by Georgia Municipal Association. Freddie Broom.
Good evening. My name is Freddie Broom, and I'm with Georgia Municipal Association, and we're here tonight to recognize the city of Fairburn for joining over 140 cities that have taken the civility pledge and has been committed to being civil. So on behalf of our Executive Director, CEO Larry Hanson, we would like to recognize you tonight for becoming one of our cities of civility. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask my colleagues to join me in just 1 second, but I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you, colleagues. Thank you so much for willing to say we want to be a city of civility. It means so much. This topic is being talked about all over the place and every moment. There have been, which we've had experience here in the city of Fairburn, but from disruptions in council meetings to out-and-out murders. People have died because of incivility. And that's why this is so significant that you were willing to step up to say, Fairburn does not want to be that. And that's why we have the Civility Pledge, which you agreed upon. That's why we list what the City of Civility means. That's why we read it at each council member, a meeting. That's why each of you are asked to read it. And we will be rotating our reading of this Civility Pledge, at least for the next 4 years, at least. And I hope it becomes institutionalized, because that's what we want. And the last thing I will say is that our citizens told us, they demanded of us that we change the behavior that we had become known for. They didn't like it, they didn't want it, and they expected better of us. And that is what we're trying to do, and that's what this means, and that's why it is so significant. So thank you. So if you will join me down so that I may hand this to you and that we can take a picture together as a group.
Councilwoman Benson, if you come in just a little bit more. Actually, love each other.
Love each other.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Ms. Howell, our communications director, will figure out a prominent place to display. All right, Madam Clerk, next item.
Mayor, the next item is adoption of the city council agenda.
Yes, so colleagues, I ask for approval to add 2 items to the agenda, and that is the appointment of Ms. LaVon Devers to the Planning and Zoning Commission and Ms. Ellen Samuels to the Development and Downtown Development Authority. You have been given a copy of their letters of interest as well as their resumes. I will just say, well, so is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, discussion? Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, those 2 items have been added to the agenda. With those additions, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Okay, that motion carries. All right, next item, Madam Clerk.
The next item is going to be public comments.
Okay. Do we have any speakers this evening?
Yes, we do. We have one speaker, Mr. Ernie Brooks.
Okay. All right, Mr. Brooks, please come forward. You have the max of 3 minutes.
Thank you, ma'am. And Mr. Phillips was going to hand out a few pictures that I snapped over here. But before we get to the pictures, and while he's handing them out, I'd like to thank Ms. Howe also for getting the material I requested. Good job, Ms. Howell. I've already thanked her, but I wanted to thank her publicly. And also whoever's responsible for the presentation last month about the Water Authority and also the ability to electrify your home with appliances and units that may or may not get you a percentage on rebate, even up to 100%. Very good, whoever's behind that. These photos are taken going under the bridge between what used to be Armando's Mexican restaurant, which is soon to be Kiss My Grits, and on the left-hand side is soon to be Butter My Biscuits, which was formerly Casablanca. So as you see, real quick, you can just flip. Look at these railroad ties. As many railroad ties as we have, this looks really kind of jinkified, excuse my French. It looks really bad. You know, Fairburn Farm Supply sells railroad ties. You can buy brand new ones there. Or, you know, we could, and if you look at the stairs there. You know, if we have an intergovernmental agreement with the 25 West Broad Street Bank building, we can utilize city employees to refurbish it, why can't we get some landscaping in this area? I thought we were going to gussy up for the World Cup. And, I think this is the last week for Atlanta. There's one game left, and we sort of missed the mark. So I wanted to raise the question that since the city owns the 2 restaurants and the city owns the bank building, and I'm just curious, that represents revenue, and I've never seen a report showing how much money comes in from rental property. And I'm real curious if the city, when Miss Johnson's family donated after the fire the stage, Frankie Arnold stage area, did they also donate the Amos Pharmacy building? Does the city of Fairburn own where Oz Pizza and Collins Construction's located? Do they own that? That represents revenue. I'm just wondering. And I got some other questions as the clock's running out for me. What is it that's causing these financial directors to break and run? We hire somebody and then they're gone. What is it? And I'm just real curious. And just to throw my 2 cents in, we're going to pave Harris Road, and I think it should be citywide for a notification on development, citywide through technology, because traffic may affect you, even though you may not live within the 1,500 feet. You may be affected by this development with like the warehouses, the 3 warehouses they're going to put out on 92. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you for hearing me out, and good job, y'all. Keep it up.
Thank you so much. And I did fail to say that you will receive a response to your comments and the questions. Yes, thank you. All right, Madam, does that conclude the speakers?
That concludes the speakers, Mayor.
Next item,
The
please.
next item is approval of the minutes of work session minutes of June 22nd and city council meeting minutes of June 22nd, 2026.
Do we have to separate approval for each?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right, so you have before you both the minutes of the work session and the city council meeting of June 22nd, 2026. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion or any edits to the minutes? Okay, none. So it has been motioned and second to approve both minutes of the work session and council meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? That motion carries. Next item, please.
The next item is a use permit for 7645 Bishop Road. Mayor, since there was a lack of quorum, staff is recommending mayor and council remove this item from the July 13th, 2026 agenda and remand this request for a use permit to the Planning and Zoning Commission for its review and recommendation.
All right, okay. Notice the word remand, meaning to send back, because planning and zoning did not have an opportunity as required to deliberate this item, again, due to lack of a quorum. So we don't have to vote on that, right?
The motion is to remand
Yes,
this
okay.
request.
All right, is there, wait, let's bring it to the floor.
Okay.
Is there a motion?
Bring it
So moved.
Is there a second?
second.
Okay, discussion? Yes, go ahead, Councilwoman Davis.
Yes, I have a question in
Yes.
reference to, and this is just a procedural question that I have that I'm not sure about. Why would this not be rolled over from planning and zoning as opposed to it coming to us? Because that's, Denise.
It had already been advertised for a hearing tonight.
Okay.
And so because it had already gone through the legal advertisement process, we had to put it on the agenda.
Okay.
And then it goes back down to planning and zoning.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, and we have to approve to move, to send it back.
Gotcha.
Okay, all right, any other discussion? All right, there has been a motion to, a motion and second to remand this item back to planning and zoning. All approve? Yes, all who approve?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, that motion carries. Next item?
The next item is the Public Safety Complex Sewer Easement Agreements. This is a request or recommendation for mayor and council to approve and execute the sewer easement agreements for the Fairburn Public Safety Complex.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Before you have an item which are, I guess, relative to our prior conversation that we had at the retreat, we had to acquire some sewer easements in order to facilitate the construction of the public safety complex. So after due diligence by our design team, this was the most feasible, efficient, economic route to go, and it's just required us to get these easements with these property owners. So before you is just the item to ratify these easements by having the mayor to sign them, since the property owners have already signed their portions.
Okay, you have before you a request for mayor and council to approve, to execute the sewer easement agreements for the Fairburn Public Safety Complex. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions, discussion? No? Okay,
Yeah.
all in?
I have a.
Yes, Councilwoman,
I have a-
yes, Councilwoman Nichols, I must, yes.
It's okay. I know you're talking to me. Thank you. So the 68,000, just to clarify, that is the cost to access the main water system?
Are you talking about the easements, or are you talking about the change order?
Hold on.
68.
Yeah, we're on.
We're number 4, right? Yeah, the easement, so the budget impact is 68,000, right? So this is, what is the 68,000 exactly?
That is the, based on our agreements with the different property owners, that was the agreed upon, includes all the agreed upon pricing to acquire the easement rights with all the property owners involved.
So then what comes after that? After we acquire them, what is the next?
We actually execute the work. We install what we need to install, and from there on out, it'll be easements that'll be part of the city of Fairburn's property for us to be able to maintain maintenance rights on as we need to, but that's the next step of the phase of the
Is there
work.
any additional work that has to happen? I'm just trying to understand the
Part of
full
our
process.
sewer infrastructure for the public safety complex comes across their property.
Right.
So in order to do that, they have to grant us what is legally referred to as an easement. That is a negotiated price for them to grant us access, and then they'll proceed. And I'll stop there because I'm not an engineer, Dana.
To do the work.
Then
So I just want to know,
ensues
after that, after we have acquired them, what happens? That is,
sewer work that is.
We install the sewer.
Yeah.
so what type of sewer work has to, do we know?
Yes. So this is part of the totality of design of the project. So we're going to install the remaining of the sewer line from the building and our property all the way through their property to the manhole that is in the cul-de-sac. That will consist of, I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, a 6-inch PVC line running from our property all the way through their property to the manhole. So after this, we will start digging
Okay.
and putting the sewer line in, putting it back, and patching back the asphalt.
And that's an additional cost?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
The cost was just to acquire
Just to
the
acquire,
rights to the land, but the cost for the contractor is things that we've already taken into consideration.
Okay.
That's the closest connection for us to get to the sewer system. We didn't connect there. It would be a far greater cost to try to create new sewer connections
Right.
at a much higher cost.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions? Okay. Yes, Councilwoman Hauser?
What is the time frame for, how long would this, the installment? Do you know the time frame for about?
We are already ready. So days before we get, probably weeks before we get done. Yeah.
With this sewer easement.
With the sewer, yeah, I'm just talking about, yeah. I'm talking about, sorry, to be more clear, I'm talking about, you're referring to the scope of work for the sewer easement to be installed by the weeks. Only weeks to do this portion of the work. Mhm.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
All right. All right, so it has been motioned and second to approve this. Use permit 7-4, no, sorry. Easement, yes, the easement agreements. All in favor?
Aye.
Mayor, I thought that
Opposition?
was,
I'm sorry?
Mayor, I'm sorry, I thought that they made those motions to bring it to the full floor for discussion.
Well, okay, but, and then ask for discussion, okay. You have before you, the Public Safety Complex Sewer Easement Agreements, and its recommendation for mayor and council to approve, to execute the easement agreements for the Fairburns Public Safety Complex. All in, is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? That motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item.
Number 5 is Public Safety Complex change orders for Reeves Young. This is a recommendation for mayor and council to approve and execute the change orders for the Fairburn Public Safety Complex for Reeves Young LLC for an amount not to exceed $137,665.
Good evening again. Subsequent to actually going on with the last item, so after Reeves Young was awarded the contract and they gave us their guaranteed maximum price, what we call GMP, based on the set of documents at the time, the subsequent changes happened after that, which included the unforeseen real estate issue, which the easements we talked about, and a water main conflict that was unknown at the time, unforeseen. So with those two incidents, it resulted into a change of the scope of work that they have to prosecute based on the original agreed on scope of work. So this item is to just grant them the funding for those change orders to allow them to handle these unforeseen conditions based on their original contract.
Okay. All right, you have before you a request to approve a change order for Fairburn Public Safety Complex for Reeves Young LLC for an amount not to exceed $137,665. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any discussion?
Yes.
Okay, yes, Councilman Perry?
Hey, Dana, good to see you, and thank you for always championing the projects around the city. My question is does this obviously involves lowering the water line, the existing water line?
Yeah, so actually there will be a lowering / reroute, relocation. So there was, I believe there was an attached document. So based on some good due diligence by the design team in coordination with the general contractor, we do have to lower that, but we are going to shift it a little bit. The existing water line right now is in conflict with where the new elevation of the driveway is going to be. So if we left it where it's at, the driveway would be here and the water line would be about here or so. So you can't have a water line sticking out of the ground. So yeah, we're going to lower it and kind of shift it a little bit in coordination with Fairburn Utilities.
Okay. Will that tie into the water line for Verlin B. Smith, or is that just gonna?
If you're referring to the water line that runs down Verlin B. Smith right in the front of the public safety complex,
Sure.
this is that water line.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Other questions? Yes, Councilwoman Davis?
Yes, Dana. Just for clarity, in reference to the $137,665 change, is that in reference to the easement, having to purchase the get the easement, and then the water line? Is that part, that makes up that $137,665?
Yes, ma'am. Those two numbers combine to that total of 137.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Can you tell me how many change orders we've had to date in reference to the public safety complex?
So this is the first change order that we presented for Reeves Young to Mayor and Council. We previously presented an amendment to the architect's contract based on the additional work for some of the traffic and transportation and GDOT design. But this is the first one presented to Mayor and Council by Reeves Young, the general contractor.
Okay, this is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. All right, thank you.
Other questions? Okay. You have before you requests to execute the change order for the Public Safety Complex for Reeves Young LLC for an amount not to exceed $137,665. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? That motion carries. Next item.
The next item is a resolution accepting Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation grant for the purchase of a Lucas chest compression. This is a recommendation for mayor and council to approve a resolution accepting the $19,471.33 Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation grant for the purchase of one Lucas chest compression system for the Fairburn Fire Department and authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary to accept and administer the grant.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
I know it's always good, I'm not here asking for money. This time. Again, the recommendation is to request Mayor and the City Council approval of a resolution accepting the fully funded grant for a total of $19,471.33 from the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation grant for the purchase of one Lucas chest compression system for the fire department, and authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary to accept and administer the grant. And just to give you all an idea of what that is, whenever we have a patient or a citizen goes into cardiac arrest, the Lucas device, we will surround the patient, attach it to the patient, and it'll do chest compressions for us. And it's very effective technology. So we're asking to approve to accept this grant.
All right, let's bring the item to the floor for a resolution accepting the $19,471.33. That must have been the invoice, an exact amount. From Firehouse Public Safety Foundation grant for the purchase of a Lucas chest compression system for the Fairburn Fire Department, and authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary to accept and administer the grant. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Councilwoman Nichols?
I'm excited for you not coming here asking us for some more money. No, what you're, right, let me hold that thought, but no, this is great for just how we're able to better service our residents. So I commend you all for continuing to find ways to diversify how we're funding these opportunities. Do we own one of these?
Yes, we do own one.
Okay.
It has some age and some use on it.
Okay, and then what is the life cycle of these devices? 4 to 5 years. And is there any like maintenance, like what is the maintenance for it?
It varies depending
Okay.
on, how we use it or what happens.
Okay, well, yes, that was just those are my questions, but thank you for applying for that opportunity. And also, there's no city funds that have to be matched, so that's even greater.
Oh, absolutely.
Councilwoman Davis?
Thank you, Mayor. Is this adequate, the ones that we have, the Lucas chest compression system, is that adequate for our fire department?
It is. Like I said, it has age on it, just like anything, we have to replace it. We've had we've had it for a while. And
But what I'm asking is this one, the one that we're getting, is that adequate? In addition to.
okay, I understand now.
Yes, is it adequate for the fire
Absolutely,
department?
absolutely,
It is?
absolutely.
Okay,
And
great.
We actually need more, but
But that's
yes.
what I'm asking.
okay.
Say yes.
Yes.
Do you need more than this one?
Yes,
For the
ma'am.
fire department?
Yes.
How many will you need to be adequate for the entire fire department in the future?
I need 5 more.
5 more.
That'll give us one at every station on each engine, then one on our ambulance.
Okay, you need 5 more.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and they usually run about 20,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, this one will do for a minute, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Other questions? Yes, Councilwoman Benson?
Thank you, Councilwoman Davis, because actually those were the words that were going to come out of my mouth, so you're not alone. But to piggyback off of that, how do you determine where this one goes?
Since we need 4 or 5.
Since we have one already, we'll put one on each side of town. Yeah. So we kind of split our territory up by the railroad tracks. So one would be here and one would be on the other side of town at the new station. This one will go to the new station.
Thank you.
Chief Robinson, first of all, congratulations on receiving the grant. You are very prolific in that regard, in identifying resources to help us buy the equipment that's needed. Could you talk about use of this device coupled with the necessary CPR training of our firefighters and how the two will complement each other? Because since we need 5, obviously, we only have one and, well, 2, but the other one, may or may not work sometime in the future, so we've got to have a plan B to respond when that one is inoperable till we can, acquire another. So can you just talk about how you will address the need when you're responding to a patient or a citizen that needs this kind of compression?
Well,
So there's high tech and there's low tech.
okay, well,
Okay.
during the CPR training, we teach chest compressions, which is manually. The Lucas device is a kind of a superhero version of it. It helps us a lot on, our very obese patients. During cardiac arrest, and it's what it is, moving obese patients makes it very difficult for us to provide life-saving procedures. So this Lucas device, it intensifies the compressions for us, and the Lucas device will keep going as to we would tire out manually and we have to swap.
So it increases the survival.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay, okay. All right. Well, thank you, and continue to look for other resources or opportunities to help supplement. We could use several other grants. And I would ask my colleagues, as we are attending both, GMA training as well as NLC, to keep your eyes and ears open for those particular opportunities that we can respond on behalf of the city to acquire support. Because every dollar we can receive from an outside source means less dollar that we have to spend from the taxpayers. But more importantly, it provides an additional level of service that we are seeking here in the city of Fairburn.
And Mayor, if I may, I want to thank my command staff. Chief Campbell and Chief Sapp played an intricate part in getting this grant.
Awesome.
Chief Campbell is one of my paramedics for the department. Yeah. So he's been in the game a long time, 25 plus years, and okay. So he's helped out a lot.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you, and thank you for bringing it to us, because that's now what we can do to help in identifying additional resources. So thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, so you have before you a request from mayor and council to approve a resolution accepting a $19,471.33 Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation grant for the purchase of the Lucas chest compression system for the Fairburn Fire Department, and authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary to accept and administer the grant. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All approve?
Aye.
Opposition? That motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
The next item is number 7, an intergovernmental agreement with the South Fulton CID for the Harris Road Full-Depth Reclamation Project. This is a recommendation from Mayor and Council to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the South Fulton Community Improvement District, CID, for $300,000 in construction funding for the Harris Road Full-Depth Reclamation Project.
Evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
So Harris Road from just west of Shortleaf at the Fairburn Travel Center truck stop exit to Sonoya Road, State Route 74 right-of-way limits is in poor condition, suffering from base failure, asphalt rutting, and load cracking. This segment of Harris Road is the only exit for the Fairburn Travel Center truck center as well, thereby making it a default truck route. This segment of Harris Road also lies within the South Fulton CID footprint. Therefore, prior to putting the project out to bid, the City of Fairburn requested funding assistance from the South Fulton CID to help deliver this project. The South Fulton CID agreed to pay, in response to our request, the South Fulton CID agreed to pay $300,000 toward the construction of the project, with the understanding that Green Oil would cover the balance of funding required to complete the construction.
You have before you an intergovernmental agreement with the South Fulton CID for the Harris Road Full Depth Reclamation Project. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion, questions? Councilman Perry?
Mr. Thompson, good afternoon. Pleasure to meet you, see you as always. So again, this is another intergovernmental agreement that we're working with City of South Fulton.
No, the
South Fulton
CID.
CID. Community, but it's South Fulton.
South Fulton
not the
Community
city of-
Improvement.
Not the city.
Okay, not the city of
So it lies within their district, the South Fulton Community Improvement District, so that's why they were willing to help with the construction funding for the project, because it helps all of their tenants and their businesses in the area.
So they're 300,000. Green Oil will pay the balance.
That's correct, that's the next item.
That's the next part. So the City of Fairburn right now at this time for the load cracking roads, et cetera, we don't have any funds needed at this point.
No, that's not gonna cost the city anything. But if you take the back route to, I guess, Renaissance Parkway, down Plantation, you come down that section of Harris Road, you can see it's in terrible condition.
Really bad.
So it's been long overdue for that, so we kind of reached out to South Fulton CID to help kind of spearhead this opportunity, kind of a public-private partnership in order to get this done.
On behalf of the citizens, I say thank you for making our roads and our streets better. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Mayor?
Okay, yes, Councilwoman Hauser and then on Davis.
Okay. And you've already started this project?
No.
Or- No, you haven't started?
No, ma'am.
So when did you anticipate starting and the completion? How long would it take?
So if we approve the IGA, MOU, and then the contract award, which is the next couple items here, then I'll notify the contractor with a notice of award. It'll take time to get back the contract documents and things of that nature and the insurance. So typically 30 days from approval, we start the project, and it's going to be a 90-day duration of the project. So
Thank you.
then 30 days construction and 90 days to completion.
All right, thank you.
Councilwoman Davis?
Thank you. I'm glad to see that this is being done in reference to that Harris Road, and the trucks are coming in and out and stuff. Now, will the full depth road reclamation,
Full depth reclamation.
will that widen that a little bit? Because sometimes those trucks come out and you're going in the other direction. You be
No, it's
careful.
not going to widen it. So all
not
the
gonna-
improvements takes place from curb to curb. So, but that is going to bring that section of roadway up to truck route standard. So it's the same thing that we did on Galat Road, the same thing we did on Oakland Industrial Boulevard, where you take the existing asphalt, you pulverize, you add 90 pounds a square yard of cement, then you put another 3.5 inches of asphalt on top of it. That 90 pounds a square yard is 14 inches thick. So you're improving the base failure, so you're addressing the base failure. Then you're coming back with your binder and your topping. So that should give it a 15 to 20 year lifespan.
Okay, so maybe that'll help with everybody staying in their lanes.
Yeah, they're dodging,
Not-
they're dodging
not
potholes.
escaping potholes.
Yeah, as originally designed, that road was not designed to handle that amount of truck
Right,
traffic.
exactly.
So what Lester has come up with, working with the CID, is a way to Earlier, I think I heard you say, Lester, it's a default truck route, which means.
Because that's their not just primary exit, that's their only exit. So it's
Exit.
one
Yeah,
way
so when
in
they
on
come
Oak
in
Ridge
Green
Boulevard,
Oil,
and
yes.
one way
come
out
out
on
on
Harris,
Absolutely.
Harris Road. So by default, it's a truck route now.
Yeah.
We need to make it a truck route
And you
standard
make- okay.
road
So we're bringing it up to truck route standards.
So thank you very much, because
at
it
no
was
cost to
needed.
the city.
Mhm.
At no cost to
Now,
the city.
that's what I'm saying. Thank you so much.
So this is really an example of a business that was approved, but the impact that that business, was not thought through, because that business has been there for a very long time. And this issue has been a problem for the city of Fairburn for a very long time. So we are very fortunate that the CID was willing to partner with the business owner to bring that road up to standards. Yes. Okay, any other, yes, Councilwoman Nichols?
Thank you. Quick question. I think I read somewhere that there was a July 1st deadline. Did we get that for this agreement?
No.
No,
think we're
okay.
talking
Did I
about
make that up? Okay, I
Peace
thought I.
Plus coming up. That's-
Oh, okay, so
That's
maybe
item
that's the
number.
next one.
Peace Plus.
It's
Okay,
three,
so-
it's three down. It's-
Okay, so as far as funds, and we know sometimes these projects exceed the estimates, who will pay for the additional, if something happens and there's additional work that's outside of this current scope, who does that fall on?
We do these type of projects all the time, and they typically don't go over
Okay.
budget because we over-engineer those projects to make sure.
But in
we
the
don't have those type of
instance that
shortfalls.
it did, Fairburn would have to,
So we're gonna get upfront funding from Green Oil through the MOU to cover the difference. But if it's anything that exceeds that 369,000, then the city of Fairburn would cover it through T-Splosh funds.
okay. That was it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Okay, so you have before you intergovernmental agreement with the South Fulton CID for the Harris Road Full Depth Reclamation Project. Request for mayor and council to approve this agreement with the South Fulton Community Improvement District for the amount of $300,000 in construction funding for the Harris Road Full Depth Reclamation Project. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? The motion carries. Next item.
The next item is number 8, Memorandum of Understanding and MOU with Green Oil for the Harris Road Full Depth Reclamation. This is a recommendation for mayor and council to approve the Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU between the City of Fairburn and GOH Green Oil Incorporated to provide $107,925.61 in pre-construction and construction funding for the Harris Road Full Depth Reclamation Project.
So this is the part two of what we just talked about. So this is the excess of that $300,000, that $69,000. But in addition to that additional construction funding, they're reimbursing the city of Fairburn for our efforts as far as the advertisement of the project, the design of the project, the CMPM, which is the construction management, project management, the CEI, which is the construction, engineering, and inspection services that's going to go for the project. And I think that's about all they're covering. So all of our financial investments, they're reimbursing us for, and they're paying us up front for the anticipated overrun of the construction cost. That's the purpose of the MOU.
Okay. All right, you have before you the MOU with Green Oil for Harris Road Full Depth Reclamation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Okay, all right. So I would ask for a motion to approve the MOU for the MOU between the City of Fairburn and George H. Green Oil Incorporated to provide $925.61 in pre-construction and construction funding for the Harris Road full-depth reclamation project. Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? That motion carries. Next item?
The next item is number 9, a contract award to Blunt Construction Company. This is a recommendation for mayor and council to approve a contract award to Blunt Construction Company Incorporated for the Harris Road Full-Depth Reclamation Project for the bid amount of $369,725.75.
All right, the invitation for bid for the Harris Road Full Depth Reclamation Project was advertised on April 22nd, 2026. The bid opening date was May 22nd, 2026, at which time 7 bids were received and read aloud. After the bid evaluation, it was determined that Blunt Construction Company was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder with a bid price of $369,725.75. The first $300,000 of the project's expenditures will come from the South Fulton CID. The remaining $69,725.75 will come from Green Oil through the MOU.
All right, you have before you a contract award to Blunt Construction Company. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Okay, Councilwoman Davis?
Yes. I just wanted to just kind of add up the numbers and stuff like that.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have like 38,199.86 left over. Is that in reference to any additional cost, or are they paying for?
Oh, so that's what the last one was for the MOU, so they're paying for project advertisement, they're paying for the design cost that we paid for Atlas to do that for, so it's to capture both the pre-construction and construction costs.
Okay.
And the CEI, which is the construction engineering and inspection services
Right.
that Atlas is charging us, they're paying for that as well.
Okay, all right. I think that's great that Green Oil is participating with this.
Well, it's a development requirement. They want to expand. So it's a development requirement. So they're not doing it out of, the goodness of their heart. They're doing it because they want to expand that property. So as a development requirement, it's going to be 50 additional parking spaces at that green space that you see there. They're going to add 45 to 50 additional parking spaces. But to do that expansion, you have to bring that road up to truck route standards. That's our requirement. So we're kind of helping them fulfill that requirement.
Okay.
And so it's a partnership.
Partnership, yes, and I like that.
That's what it's about.
The resolution is new. The process to get here has been laborious over the last several years.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been
Took a while, but we've gotten here.
but we're here. That's the
We're
important thing.
here. Yay!
Now.
So that's any developer that
I
comes
saw that
to
look on
town
your
and tries
face,
to develop,
Mr.
they have
Phillips.
development requirements, and this is one of those. And in this case, we were able to assist in helping them meet their development requirements.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Quite welcome.
Other questions? Okay. All right, you have before you a contract award to Blunt Construction Company, a recommendation for mayor and council to approve the contract award to Blunt Construction Company for the Harris Road full-depth reclamation project with a bid amount of $369,725.75. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? Okay, that motion carries. Next item.
The next item is number 10, an IGA for the use and distribution of proceeds generated by the 2026 T-SPLOS referendum. The recommendation is for mayor and council to approve the intergovernmental agreement, the IGA, with Fulton County and all qualified municipalities for the use and distribution of the proceeds generated by the 2026 T-SPLOS referendum.
A little history. On November 8th, 2016, Fulton County residents voted to approve a 0.75 cent sales tax for transportation purposes, special purpose local option sales tax, T-SPLOS. The funding was generated within Fulton County outside of Atlanta. The sales tax started April 1st, 2017 and ended March 30th, 2022. In November of 2021, voters approved the T-SPLOST 2 referendum, and the sales tax on that one started April 1st, 2022, and is scheduled to end March 30th, 2027, unless voters approve another 5-year extension. If approved, this tax will begin on April 1st, 2027, and conclude March 31st, 2032. In order to prepare for the third T-SPLOST referendum, which is scheduled to be on the November 2026 ballot, Fulton County is asking all jurisdictions to approve the proposed IGA by July 15th, 2026. I think that's what you're referring to. So this will allow Fulton County to present the IGA at the April 5th, 2026 Board of Commissioners meetings. There's no immediate impact, no immediate budget impact with this agenda item, but it stands to gain. I can look at the
Percentage.
City of Fairburn. For Tier 1 projects, we stand to receive $15,600,738. For Tier 1 projects, that's if 85% of the revenues come in. If 100% of the projected revenues comes in, we stand to receive $18,363,810. And if for Tier 3 projects, which is 115% of the forecast, the City of Fairburn stands to gain $21,106,881. So we're hoping that passes.
Absolutely.
All right, you have before you an IGA for the use and distribution of proceeds generated by the 2026 T-SPLOST referendum. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
The discussion, questions? Councilwoman Nichols, you have a question?
No.
No, okay. All right, Mr. Thompson, could you just briefly talk about some recent projects that the City of Fairburn has been able to complete as a result of the T-SPLOST dollars?
Okay.
You mentioned Gallard Road.
So roadway projects, we did the Galot Road full depth reclamation. We did McLaren Road, East Broad Street, full depth reclamation. Pedestrian improvement projects, Shaw Drive, pedestrian improvements, Fairview Drive, pedestrian improvement projects, Elder Street, pedestrian improvement projects, East Broad Street, pedestrian improvements from Bohannon to Sonoya Road, Grant Street, pedestrian improvement projects, citywide resurfacing annually. So even this year, which is going to be about, I think the last one, I think what we said, about 10 miles of resurfacing, and so between 5 to 10 miles annually of annual resurfacing. And this year, it was residential focus, so at least about 7 subdivisions are going to be resurfaced as a result of T-SPLOST funds.
And those of us who've been in Fairburn for a while, prior to the approval of the very first T-SPLOST, it was always challenging to get road resurfacing work done, because we just never had enough money to do it. So
our budget was $300,000. It was $150 from LMIG, and the city matched that $150.
So that covered very little.
About
So
3 streets.
T-SPLOST has been quite effective. But Mr. Phillips, could you talk about the voting requirement in order for this to be effective?
Absolutely. From its inception in 2015, I think the first one was approved in 2016, all of the T-SPLOST referendums, which stands for Transportation Special Local Option Sales Tax, are required by state law to be approved by public referendum. So it goes on a general election ballot, typically every 5 years. Is that correct, Lester?
Mm-hmm.
Every 5 years.
So it'll be on this
and it is-
ballot. Mhm.
Must be approved by voters county-wide. And so it's a county-wide referendum. And it has been.
The exception of the city of Atlanta.
Except for the city of Atlanta, which, that's another lengthy
Do their own-
explanation.
They do their own.
They do their own. They have a separate SPOS that they do for theirs. But the remaining 14 cities and a county are all involved in the T-SPOS referendum we're discussing at this point. It has passed, but it has been, the votes have been closer than they have been
It got
anticipated.
better for T-Splosh 2. T-Splosh 1 was
Close.
very close, but we needed to get better in Fairburn. Provided a chart, if you guys want to kind of look at what we improved, but it wasn't by much. So I would ask everyone to continue to get this type of funding, that we definitely vote yes at the next election. City of Fairburn, so in 2016, it was 50.1%. 2021, 53.9%. So an increase.
So it's
50
passed, but it
4%
hasn't been
increase.
a landslide. It's been a fairly close vote. So we'll again see what the will of the voters is come November. But it does require a countywide voter referendum. And so that will determine ultimately continuation of T-Splost if the voters so approve. But it has been transformational to the mayor and Lester's point in providing cities resources financially to do road resurfacing that, in all honesty, would not have been fiscally possible before T-Splost.
Road resurfacing, roadway projects. Howell Avenue Extension, example of T-Splosh. That was a new location roadway. Duncan Park Road project is currently under construction now. We're using general funds and T-Splosh funds, so it's kind of half and half. So we wouldn't be able to do these type of projects, these significant projects, without T-Splosh.
Right. And this is really, this is an example of the 14 of the 15 cities working together to help each other, right? Because all cities have to approve it, but we all benefit if it does get approved, and we will all suffer if it does not get approved. So it is all in all of our best interests to educate our citizenry about what this is and the impact that it has on us. We're enjoying all of this, but it could easily disappear if, this initiative is not approved. Any other questions or comments? Yes, okay, Hauser and then Benson.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get a little more clarity with the T slots. Now, is this a special local tax?
Option sales tax, excuse me.
Okay, funds?
So it's through sales tax, but it's a countywide tax. So it may be benefiting from folks going shopping in Alpharetta and Sandy Springs. We're benefiting from their tax as well. So it's a county. It all goes into the same pot, and it's distributed based on population.
Right, and they're used to pay for like transportation
Projects.
projects. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I
That's why
understand.
transportation, special local option sales tax. So transportation is the key. So there's different type of SPLOS, but this one is T-SPLOS, which is
Okay.
transportation SPLOS.
Okay.
And then before I go to you, Councilwoman Benson, this is also speaks to the fact that when we shop in other counties, those counties are getting that sales tax revenue. We are not, which speaks to the need for increasing businesses in our own backyard so that we can collect those sales taxes and use it for the benefit of our city. So I just wanted to bring that up. Yes, Councilwoman Benson.
So you got in my head.
Okay, well, good,
And
good.
that covers that one. The only other question I had with this is the approval by us, I guess, covers our part to ensure that it's on the ballot? Is that?
Once all the cities approve it, and then it will be on the ballot. So they're not going to have any problems. If you look at that chart, I mean, we had some cities like, say, for instance, Sandy Springs, they went from
I saw that, yeah.
56 to 66. I mean, so some people, it's significant increases. From there, you know, they weren't very, Alpharetta went from 51% to 61%, so a 10% increase. So
Seeing the benefit.
they're seeing the benefit, and they were in opposition to it because they're big, at one time, they were big enough, they thought they can fund it all themselves, but since they get more funds than us, I mean,
'Cause they're
it's
large.
based on population because they're larger. So once they start getting this money, and they'll do all these huge projects, they don't want to stop. So, and people don't want to use federal funds because of the burden of utilizing federal funds on construction projects. You can use these it's kind of like local funds, and you can deliver projects a lot faster by using T-SPLOST funds. So that's the advantage of it as well.
Any other questions or comments? Okay. All right, so you will be hearing more about it, but what you have before you is our agreement with the county to proceed in all of the necessary steps to get it on the ballot. And we'll be negotiating the distribution at some future date. Okay, so you have before you an IGA for the use and distribution of proceeds generated by the 2026 T-SPLOST referendum. It's a request from Marion City Council to approve the intergovernmental agreement with Fulton County and all qualifying municipalities for the use and distribution of the proceeds generated by the 2026 T-SPLOST referendum. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? That motion carries. Next item?
The next item is council comments.
No, I had 2 agenda items.
Yeah.
please.
I'm sorry, yes. The next agenda item is we need a motion to allow Ellen Samuels to be a member of the Development Authority.
To approve the appointment of Ellen Simmons to the?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So that's item number 11. Members of council, you were given a letter of interest in addition to resume of Ms. Ellen Samuels, who is longtime resident of the city of Fairburn, also a former employee of the city of Fairburn, as well as a super volunteer, if you will. But I proposed or recommended Ms. Samuels for this position, one, because of her knowledge of the city, the history that she brings, her analytical skill set, her research capability, which is outstanding, and just ability to her understanding and communication of the vision that we've put in place for development for the entire city of Fairburn and as well as for downtown Fairburn. So I ask your approval of her appointment to the authority. So may I have a motion to bring an item to the floor?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussions, questions? Okay. All right, none. All right, if I may have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? None? Okay, that motion carries. Next item?
The next item is an appointment of Levon Devers to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Yes, you also received a letter of interest and resume from Ms. Devers, who was a former member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, as well as former chair of the commission. And so knowledgeable of planning and zoning, as well as knowledge of the city, longtime resident of the city, But, you know, due to some personal issues, she had to step down, and she is now back. And we do need an appointment on the planning and zoning to continue its business. So may I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions, discussion? Okay, none. So may I have a motion to approve the appointment of Levon Devers to the Planning and Zoning Commission?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? That motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
The next item is council comments.
All right, we will start with Councilman Berry.
First, thanks, everyone. I think this has been another tremendous opportunity for us to engage with the citizens and help shape the future of Fairburn. Last meeting, I threw out a big shout out to Miss Melanie Doggett for Landmark Christian High School. I have to do it again. The young lady was just named the 2025-2026 Gatorade National Girl Track and Field Player of the Year.
Awesome.
And that's from over 500,000 female student athletes.
Awesome.
As we move, I move to fire for the 100K. I look forward to seeing that those line items at the upcoming budget review. It's been lots of rain the last few weeks, lots of fallen limbs, lots of fallen trees, power outages. I ask that everyone continue to prepare for these emergencies at your homes with your families and slow down and drive safely. Lastly, I'd like to continue to pray for our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and civilians as they're in harm's way defending our country. So please keep them in your prayers. Thank you.
Okay. Benson?
So back to school is right around the corner, everybody. And I've noticed as parents are getting more and more excited, but as students are really starting to count down the days with some reluctance. And I just want to reach out to households to say there's still time left in the summer, so enjoy it safely. And just make sure that as you're focusing on that next school year, you're also taking time to really enjoy the summer that you have before all of that builds back up. Start focusing on your travel plans, your route plans to and from school, your after-school plans. And I encourage you to start reaching out to teachers and staff that return back to school as of the 27th of July. It's never too early to look at 504 plans, to look at course schedules, et cetera. So that's my little public service announcement for the day, so thank you.
Councilwoman Hauser?
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, and thank you for your presentations. Thank you for your questions and coming out to our work sessions. I am so very excited about the public safety complex, very excited about that, and the approval of the locust chest compression system for the fire department because it entails saving lives. And I also want to say, I believe we're doing wonderful work and changes that supports our daily operations according to our comp plan. And as I always say, God bless the chiefs, public safety department, and bless all of you. Look forward to seeing you the next time.
Thank you. Councilwoman Davis?
No comments, Mayor.
Okay. Councilwoman Nichols?
Good evening. Just want to say thank you to our staff for just always putting Fairburn and our residents first, especially creating opportunities this summer to have fun outside. So make sure you are looking into the Fairburn Outside series. There's a lot of fun things going on in Fairburn. I also want to shout out Nancy. She is the founder of Kids with Goals soccer program here in Fairburn. She was featured on CBS News. And just, soccer has been such a highlight these past couple weeks, and putting Fairburn on the map, continuing to service our youth and support just outside play. So I just want to shout her out and continue to keep doing the great work. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Smallwood?
All right, I'm just going to go back to something Councilwoman Benson said about enjoying your summer. Just, we see this news cycle, and it's very, very heavy. So I just want to encourage all of us to find something you enjoy and do it, and just take a moment to woosah, because you can rest assured that we're doing the business. As you see staff each and every council meeting come in and present us with such excellent presentations. And we went to our retreat, and, you get to hear what's going on in the other cities. I salute you, Mayor, for bringing the civility pledge to us, because you can feel the peace. And, you get a different perspective when you go outside of Fairburn and you see how things are operating. So we have a slice of heaven here in Fairburn, and it comes with a lot of work. And so just take some time for yourselves and enjoy something that you enjoy doing. So that's my little PSA for tonight.
Thank you so much. I, again, want to thank all of my colleagues for willing to step up to say we will be a city of civility. So thank you so much. The award that, it was presented to me in Savannah at the Georgia Municipal Association Conference, but I wanted it to be presented here because, I was the one out front, but you are the ones that made it happen. So thank you so much for that. I, too, want to shout out Nancy Sanchez for her exposure and the work that she's doing with the Kids with Goals. And I will also say that the city of Fairburn will be receiving, I believe it's 200 soccer balls from FIFA World Cup itself. That was committed to us by the president of FIFA, actually back in January. So stay tuned. The arrival of the balls were delayed because they had to come from overseas, but they are now in the United States and they're on their way to Fairburn. So stay tuned for that. Yes, they are only soccer balls, but they're soccer balls. So that's important, okay? Yes, and so I can't wait to see the expression of our children as we do that. And then last thing I would like to say is a big, big deal has happened nationally, and that is a bipartisan bill called the 21st Century Road to Housing Act. New legislation, bipartisan legislation that has not happened in this country for at least 30, if not 40 years. That legislation was approved by Congress, sent to the president. He decided he didn't want to sign it, but it became law anyway. So it has now created opportunity and revenues for us to deal with the housing issue. It frees up some CDBG funds that allows us to do some things with housing that we have not been able to do in the past. So we are fighting now to just make sure that those dollars can come directly to the cities and not funnel through the state and/or county, just like the COVID money. So stay tuned for that. With that, do we have an executive session?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Okay, so we will now go into, I know, see, we done. We will, may I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Oh, yes.
Second.
For what? Okay, executive session for?
Personnel, litigation, and
Real estate. Okay, so it has been motioned to go into executive session for personnel, real estate, and litigation. Is there a motion?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
All approve?
Aye.
Okay. Opposition? No, unanimous. Okay? So we'll go into executive session. Thank All right, may I have a motion to resume council meeting for July 13th, 2026?
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Next item, Madam Clerk.
The next item is we need a motion to authorize the acquisition of parcel 17, which consists of approximately 11,253.33 square feet in fee simple right-of-way and 19,640.22 square feet of permanent construction easement for a purchase price of $50,000.
You have a motion before you to approve an agreement for all of the things that the city clerk just described. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposition? That motion carries. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Second.
Aye.
Yes, okay.
Please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, meeting adjourned.
We're still on camera, y'all.
Yeah.